disappointed with this haunted atmosphere of modernity exacerbated by the over-centralized financial power that seems ossified and unable to let go of its tight control over the money printing machine. This is what has precipitated a new era of cryptocurrencies. And it seems that cryptocurrency trailblazers saw an opportunity to free everyone from the shackles of this power. However, don't you see some similarities between modern cryptocurrency aspirations and the strive for liberty, equality, and fraternity that led to the French Revolution, liberating in some respects and very bloody in some other respects? Hegel, Marx, Nietzsche, and Freud have contributed to the diagnosis of those issues, mainly in the 19th century, and a long time has gone since their revelations being made public. You would hope that societies would learn those diagnoses and would learn from their own mistakes and take into account this renewed understanding. However, it turns out not to be the case. Actually, within the 20th century, the mindset of Karl Popper has begun to dominate. And this mindset is that of a positivistic agenda that discards those internal psychological dimensions of philosophy uncovered by Hegel, Marx, Nietzsche, and Freud. Those thinkers, since they didn't use empirical data, were labeled as fraud, and hence the input that they were trying to bring to the table was also discarded, kicking the can of understanding and correcting your own mistakes further down the road. A somewhat surprising example corroborating this fact is the story of cryptocurrencies. In particular, I would like to emphasize one very successful story building trust, but also betraying this trust, according to the good old Western tradition. So which cryptocurrency do I have in mind? And the answer is Cosmos. Cosmos can be described as a great project that has gone pear-shaped with respect to its development. How so? Why is it great? And why has it gone pear-shaped? There are multiple reasons that make Cosmos an outstanding example of what's good about the cryptocurrency vibe. Firstly, project co-founders Jae Kwon and Ethan Buckman were one of the first to offer a robust, well-thought-through solution to the proof-of-work deficiency inherent in Bitcoin. The proof-of-work protocol requires immense power consumption, thereby affecting the environment in a negative way. Jae Kwon and Ethan Buckman offered a robust solution to this problem and developed their own version of the proof-of-stake mechanism that is more environmentally friendly. Moreover, the effort and expertise that they built within their solution was offered by them to everyone, virtually for free, since they founded a Cosmos Hub, a project meant to serve as a network of cryptocurrencies, each of which could be set up by virtually anyone at the tip of their fingers. The proof that they were doing all this in good faith lies within their own philosophical understanding of the world. Ethan Buckman has shared more of its view publicly, and his views are not too dissimilar in essence from the motto of the French Revolution: liberty, equality, and fraternity. Sure, his thought is a much more modern rendition of those notions. Nevertheless, you can feel the spirit of thinking about the good of the society, of avoiding centralized approaches, of acknowledging the importance of environment and the value of sharing with respect to the creation of value. Those are key distinct features of Ethan Buchman's approach to life. And it's not only positive, it's very contagious. And you can see how it has spread over into his work. Now, even though Jake Wang appears to be much less willing to ruminate at length about his views, bits and bytes and snippets of his worldview can be surmised from his public utterances, opinions, and the way he states the goals for Cosmos. Namely, when he says, the design goals are to become free from the influence of state actors and mega corporations like Google, that is very well in line with the desire to stop power domination. Further, he says, to become complete as a reference standard worthy of promoting for educational purposes. Here too we sense the spirit of the Enlightenment. It's not just a reframed idea of the good set back against the domination of power. It's also education and dissemination of those ideas, which are of value within this framework. And so Jake Wang's contribution could be viewed as a contemporary example of the spirit of enlightenment at work. However, if you remember the first part of the video, we mentioned how this well-meaning spirit of the enlightenment used to produce less than perfect results, sometimes leading to effects that are opposite from the intended ones. So how about this contemporary rendition of this Enlightenment project? What has happened to it? Well, some of the issues with the Cosmos network seem to stem from its very foundation. True, they introduced a proof-of-stake mechanism that is more environmentally friendly versus that of Bitcoin. However, you could also name a drawback of this Cosmos network in comparison to Bitcoin, and that is essentially unlimited money printing. Bitcoin has a finite set of liquidity to be mined. On the contrary, Cosmos does not have those limitations, and its inflation amounted, according to certain estimates, to be 10 to 20%. That is huge, that is enormous, and that is related to the erosion of trust. Although trust, especially the lack of it, has been the central point of concern with respect to traditional currency. And so, if trust is eroded there, but then there is a new solution where trust is equally eroded, then how is this new solution better? Right, that's a good question. But on top of that, there has been another factor of trust erosion with respect to traditional currencies, and that is centralization. The accumulation of money printing properties within the select few financial institutions has been criticized recently as essentially a form of a power grab. Now, what a new version of Cosmos 2.0 suggests is, among other things, to issue additional inflation and to make newly minted coins the property of the treasury. That means a huge step towards the centralization akin to that of traditional currencies. And that's why it created such a backlash among the community, especially among the fans of the Cosmos project. And it is understandable, since people trusted Cosmos to not degrade into an untrustworthy traditional currency. But in effect, Proposal 82 for the Cosmos 2.0 is doing exactly that. And so this betrayal of trust can be sensed in the comments that lots of frustrated cryptocurrency fans had to voice. What's noteworthy is that this critique of Cosmos 2.0 hasn't been propounded solely by former fans, but also by professionals. And there is one professional who has shared their philosophical outlook. So let's take a look at what this person has to say. First, the author acknowledges the fact that there is an ideal reality besides the material reality, that the world of ideas does play a significant role and maybe even takes precedence over the material world when we talk about social interactions and inspirations, especially new projects that the trailblazers want others to get involved with. I would say that this is a critique of the 20th century positivist thinking that tends to belittle the role of ideas and emphasize the role of empirical and material reality. And this critique is pertinent to the long-term effects of trailblazers projects, since even if you've got a lot of inspiration and if you've got technical acumen, you should not beguile yourself with the fact that once you've converted your technical acumen into a project, that this material project is going to sustain itself without the creator, without the founder. Thus, what the author is calling the founder culture is a very important element to any project's long-term success. This idea of personal responsibility and personal direction and a synthesis between the energy of the creator and the energy of the community is something that used to be described in mythology, in classical literature, in the literature of the early modern era. But this ideal has been forgotten. Once those inspired individuals that seem to be great leaders see their role as moving towards a material system, their goals and inspirations become tainted with the coarseness of the material world that prefers money over trust, material achievements versus spiritual achievements. So this loss of founder culture leads to an imbalance and leads to the quality of proposed solutions being perishable. And as for the second element of the diagnosis that I wanted to touch on, it is related to storytelling as a means to erase this boundary between materialistic desires and spiritual desires, between hard cash value and eternal values. Storytelling is something that smoothes out the contradictions between the material and the ideal. It connects the two such that the end result is more than the sum of its parts. I think that the most recent example of such a synthesis was provided by Steve Jobs. You may like or dislike Apple products, but you can't deny that this person managed to channel his energy into material products that are not limited to their materiality, to their corporeality, but rather exceed it and enthuse the followers with a sense of belonging to a certain type of culture, rather than only seeing those products as pieces of matter belonging to the owners. So it seems that we really lack Steve Jobs, and our society would definitely benefit from someone like Steve Jobs involved in new cryptocurrency projects. In my opinion, if such a person comes along, then we'll see a cryptocurrency boom that will supersede in quality and magnitude whatever cryptocurrency development followed before. So, as investors, we would probably want to be on the lookout for such personalities, since investing in the products and services made by such people is a sure way to make some money. Oh, I've been criticizing the materialistic approach, but now I kind of made a U-turn and boiled everything down to pure materialistic value. I don't know what to say. What are your thoughts? Do share your opinion in the comments below. And if you like the content of this channel, consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next video.